Welcome, race fans, to the first round of the 2023 iAmericanCanadian Tour. You'll be able to see the action all here the entire season on Maconi Entertainment. This is a 5-week series featuring real-world competitors thrown into a virtual setting with a perfectly even playing field. That means fixed setups, equal equipment, and the raw talent to bring home that checkered flag at the end of a night. These drivers will be competing for over $400 total in prize pool at the end of the season, all courtesy of some great series sponsors: GossCars.com, Pard Brothers Racing, and Thunder Road Speed Bowl. But tonight, we find ourselves at Hickory Motor Speedway, a tight bull ring of a racetrack in North Carolina for 125 laps of racing action. My name is Joey Atterbury, and joining me in the booth is David Kreutz, our producer, Ryan Bauer, and the camera angles being used tonight being provided by Dougie Beard. Race control for the event is Brandon Davis, and he'll be keeping an eye on all of the action that will be happening on the racetrack. And David, Hickory is a legendary racetrack that is home to some incredible short track racing. Tell us a little bit more about what we're going to see here tonight.
Absolutely. Now, we are in for a great show here at Hickory Motor Speedway, Newton, North Carolina. It opened in 1951, but its last major revision was in 1970. Now, 14 degrees of banking on the turns 1 and 2, and 12 degrees in 3 and 4, with 8 degrees on the straightaways, and seating capacity of just about 10,000 spectators. Now, it's got a nickname, but birthplace of NASCAR stars and many international talents have came out of Hickory. One notable example, even outside of the NASCAR world, Pietro Fittipaldi, two-time track champion of Hickory Motor Speedway in 2011 and 2012. He eventually ended up in the Formula One World Championship. So this track has created some great talent, and certainly we have a group of great, talented drivers ready to take it on for the first time tonight here with the super late models on iRacing.
Well, and a lot of these drivers are real-world drivers, so it's really interesting to bring them here into the virtual world and get a glimpse of the action we're going to see here. The super late models tonight for 125 laps of action, and no fast repair out there. That means if they pick up damage, they're going to have to live with it or come down pit lane and get that fixed at a time penalty. One green-white checkered attempt if we need it, and that fixed setup that we talked about. All of these cars on a setup being provided by Maconi Setup Shop. That means everyone is on equal stuff out there. And not only are we going to get 125 laps of racing action, but we're going to get a few heats before everything gets going. And going to get 8 cars in each of these heats. Should be getting 4 heats. And the first one is getting gridded up right now. We got Harry Krenner is going to be leading us to our first green flag of the night. Joey Israelson there in the second place, Arthur Jordan third, Justin Prescott in the 4th spot, Brian Rogers Jr. 5th, Eric Pomasco 6th, Casey Beatty, and Jason Ricker will round out your 8-car field. And what we're going to be seeing here in these heats is a pretty quick, just 10-lap heat, so not even a whole bunch of time to get everything warmed up. And before we get anything warmed up on track, I do want to mention our partners here, GossCars.com, new and used car sales, as well as expert car maintenance and care using skilled technicians. Goss, Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, and Jeep. They're in South Burlington, Vermont. And one more, Pard Brothers Racing, race-winning parts provider at the Thunder Road Super Bowl there in Colchester, Vermont. And only a couple quick laps here under the pace car, and we're going to get this first heat underway. And already 1 lap down, and let's pull out this little crystal ball that I always like to pull out. David, we going to get a clean first heat, or are we going to get a little rubbing and racing out here short track style?
Well, I feel like these guys, well, they're going to be the testing grounds for how these heats are going to go. We got a total of 4 that we expect here tonight, and I do believe that we have a consolation as well. So 10 laps, very short distance with a very small track, and it gives these guys the opportunity to perhaps get a little bit more rough than if it were a longer circuit with a little more room. And the pace car going to dive in this time by as Barney the Flag and greet our 8 drivers as we get heat number 1 underway. Green for the first time tonight.
Yeah, Harry Krenner with a very good jump on the bottom in that number 24 car, but the 36 of Joey Israelson hanging tough on the outside, and that's Justin Prescott They're in the 44 in the third position. Little bit of door banging going into turn one here on the second lap. Pushes Israelson really wide, and Justin Prescott takes advantage.
And a great maneuver there for Prescott, able to put himself in the top two. Now the cutoff to get in is the fourth position. So right now, Krenner, Prescott, and Israelson in good standings. We're watching Jason Ricker in the fourth position. He's about a half second away from your race leader, but he still is very close to the battle for the podium. So as it stands, he's in a great position to keep himself in check. These top four are running away for the remainder of the pack, almost halfway in. As you can see, it's about a half second gap. Big time move, and Prescott is going to go all the way around. Now he's going to be in fifth, and he's going to have to claw his way out of that gap. He still is able to. It's a very tricky car to handle, as we see lap machines already moving away. But now it looks like it's going to be a lot of hard work for Prescott to get back up there, as he's currently sitting fifth in a four-car transfer round, heat number one.
Yeah, got a little bit of help there in the left rear quarter panel, and just got shoved up out of the groove, and unfortunately now is in that fifth place spot. But you're looking at the top three here, really good battle. Harry Krenner still continues to lead this race, and just like that, these laps are starting to tick down. Looking at 3 laps remaining now as they cross the stripe, and I don't know, David, if I was these guys, if I'm out there in the top 4, I'm not racing too hard, but as I say that, Israelson really trying to get that low line and take this win away.
And now it becomes all about that victory for these guys. They're pretty far out on those outside of the top 4. As you can see, the 45 machine on a tear. Prescott far out of frame. And now it's going to be all about the victory. Inside line as we take it 1 lap to go. It looks like one of the wall there, and that's going to be a big maneuver as the 45 machine to beat. He's going to be able to take that spot. The 24 now down in fourth. And it looks like single file. The aggression pays off. No big issue, and it will be victory for the driver of that number 36 machine. Israelson comes out on top.
Yeah, it's Joey Israelson taking home the win, and that was Kerry Krenner in the 24 that got shuffled all the way back there to the fourth place. You get the results here. Jason Ricker second, Casey Beattie, then Kerry Krenner, Justin Prescott, Brian Rogers Jr., Arthur Jordan, and Eric Pamasco. But things are going to keep rolling very fast here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Already have heat number 2 getting gridded up and about to roll off. We got Zach Audit there leading this heat. Jeff Coate there in the second place position will be lining up alongside of him. Robbie Douglas in the third spot, Caden Fisher fourth, Taylor Hoare in the fifth spot, PJ Evans, Vernon Woodard, and Ty Delphia round out the 8 cars that we're going to see here in the second heat. Now, before we get to the green flag, David, what did you learn from our first heat?
Well, I saw some aggression, but not as much as I expected. I'm not going to lie to you guys about that one. It looks like these guys are being a bit more control with their race cars so far. At this point, if you have the pace to make it in, you're just going to want to put yourself in the position to hold on, get into the main event, and wait for that 125-lap main feature. It's a lot safer to do that to perhaps be put into the consolation event and find yourself with drivers that might not have a grip on these cars the same way you believe you have it, as we get ready to go green for our second heat of the night.
And Zachary's already on the gas as Barney the flagman waves that green flag, but it's the 51 Jeff Coate on the outside. Now he gets into the back. Oh, we got disaster here coming off a turn 2. This all started with our 2 leaders. That was, I believe, Jeff Coate. Here, we're going to get the replay. The 51 just gets a little bit of help from the left rear quarter panel, and then dominoes continue to fall.
And that just seemed to be a multitude of drivers getting into each other from an issue at the front of the field. The battle for the lead dictates where everyone goes here at Hickory. And when the leaders get involved, it becomes a challenge to get through. Great work there. But it looks like only one driver going to be able to make it out scot-free. The number 27 machine out in front at Hickory, as it looks like more than half of the field collected right now. It looks like 2 drivers very close to the iRacing official pace car, but the remainder of the field still catching up, and a lot of work to do if you got big damage after that.
Well, and we mentioned that there's no fast repair that these drivers are going to have, and so you're right. If they picked up any damage, they're going to have to live with it out there on the racetrack, and that is never a fun deal when you only have a 10-lap heat. Got damage, and you got to make up track position. That is one tall mountain to climb, and I think not only that, but I think race control is being pretty strict out there. Jeff and Zach were given end-of-line penalties for kind of causing that incident at the front of the field, so not only were they involved in it, but they're also going to have to go all the way back to the back end of the pack and have to make their way forward on the racetrack. And David, it looks like these laps are counting under yellow flag here, so we're going to be going back to green. This time by, we got the pace car lights out currently. Can be Robbie Douglas in the 27 on that low lane. The 48 of Taylor Hoare there on the high side. See if we get another early launch here, and just like that, the 27 takes advantage on the loud pedal, scoots away from everybody, and that opened the door for the 73 of Vernon Woodard and even PJ Evans in the 33 to take advantage. And even look at this, the 51, all he took was one lap to get back into that transfer spot.
And that's the type of aggression that you need. As we see one go around to the back of the pack there, it looks like it will be a two-car incident. We keep it going, but you can see one down and around. The leaders are still going, and the 51 machine back in that fourth position. And controlled aggression is what you need in circumstances such as that. As you can see now, they're going to be double foul for the race lead as Douglas goes up high, and we'll see whether or not the 27 machine will be able to hold on. As now you can see it's going to be 2 laps to go now, and now they're going to be rubbing up big time, and the 27 has it sent up high. Gonna have to take it down bottom. 1 lap to go here. The leaders still have some room to that 5th place driver, and I think now with a bit of damage and one blinking, it will be all about making it to the checkered flag in that top 4. The 55 machine trying to push it hard. PJ Evans right there, but it will not happen, and the race is over. Top 4, of course, make it in a hard charge, not working out there in the battle for the final position.
Yeah, we'll get our finishing results here for heat number 2. Vernon Woodard took home the win there. Robbie Douglas, 2nd place. Jeff Cote made his way all the way back up into the 3rd position. PJ Evans there in that final transfer spot. Ty Delphia, 5th. Zachary Audit, 6th. Caden Fisher and Tyler Hoare rounding out that 8-car field, and roll right in to heat number 3. I already see the pace car rolling off, and that means Aaron Maynard in that in the 46, I'm sorry, going to be leading this heat to the green flag. Norman Andrews alongside of him. Bradley Bushy, who I believe is still trying to connect here, see if he gets into the race. Bert Duffy, Jason Goodbout there in 5th. Reese Bogue, Derek Glachaki, and also Aaron Plemons round out this heat number 3 8-car field.
And absolutely yet another 8-car field here, the 3rd of which, and I'm not sure if everyone's loaded in on our end. I don't believe it is all 8. I'll have to get a wider shot to make sure, but I do believe now it's going to be down to 7. So 1 driver not loading in, and this does become a beneficiary for some of the guys in the back of the pack. Maybe one more spot to have a better chance at making their way in. Barney the Flagman, 3rd time by. He'll wave it once again. Green's out in our 3rd heat, and double file up front. Maynard already going to have the 11 machine go way high. Norman Andrews, he's got a car that's a dark without feathers there, and he's going to go to the back of the field, and now the 46 machine with a bit less trouble out in front. The 11 certainly not the starting one, and now he's going to get turned around the back of the field. Norman Andrews down and around, and looks like they'll be able to keep it going.
Yeah, but we got 3 wide racing going into turn 3 here for the lead. The 0-3 of Derek Glachaki try and take a look down low, but it's the 46 of Aaron Maynard out front right now. Already 3 laps in the books, and looks like kind of the bottom lane on this racetrack is where you want to go to try to get this pass done, but you can keep persistence. And oh no, we got a car turned around. That was 46 getting turned around by the 0-3 of Derek Glachaki. Now, what we saw in the earlier incident, we're going to catch this quick replay. We're going to see the 0-3 just turn the 46 from that fender, and actually, I believe there was another car there that ended up getting into the wall. believe that was our second place runner at the time. We're going to ride on board with Aaron Clemens here in the 4th place. Did Derek get into him? Was there any contact there?
Now that I'm not sure. He sent it up the track, and eventually Jason Goodbout there in that 17 goes up to the high side and rides the wall, and certainly not the place you want to be in, but might just still be drivable after that incident. 6 laps in, and how about it as we have now 5 laps remaining. 3rd heat flying through, and even these caution laps very quick as we keep the race rolling. The number 17 Maconi Goodbout now is scored as our leader, and we will see whether or not the driver of that 17 is going to stay out despite what could be some damage while riding up to the front of the field, as we're going to take it double file next time by, it appears, and the race leader for oh so long there, Aaron Maynard, now going to be down there in the 5th position. So going to be a bit of a harder road to get into the main event. It's all possible, and we saw it happen last heat, but still is going to be a bit more of a challenge for the driver that was out in front, our poles there in Maynard, the 46 machine.
Well, Jason Goodbout is going to be leading the restart here. Aaron Clemens going to be lined up alongside of him. Reese Bogue there in the 3rd spot. Bert Duffy, and then we're going to get Aaron Maynard and Derek Glachocki there. But more crucially, we're only going to have 2 laps remaining here in this heat, and so things are going to have to get sorted out very quickly. We saw a couple cars really go hot into turn 1 on the initial start, and a little bit of an accordion effect. They're getting going now. I'm watching the 03 car because he's got to get underneath the 74 here to get into that final transfer spot, and he already did. The 03 of Derek Glachocki up into 4th place position, and he's not only stopping there, but he's looking for more. But more importantly, the 67 Aaron Clemens already coming out of turn 4. He sees the checkered flag and gonna claim this heat race number 3 victory. Reese Bogue in 2nd place, and some extracurricular stuff going on afterwards, but get the full results here of heat number 3. Aaron Clemens with the win, Reese Bogue 2nd place, Derek Glachocki coming all the way back up to the 3rd place position, Aaron Maynard 4th, Bert Duffy 5th, Norman Andrews, Jason Goodbout, and Bradley Bushy in the final 8th place position there. And that'll bring us to our final heat of the night. And what have we learned so far, David? We've seen that there's been a couple yellow flags, and if those yellow flags come in, they really seem to disrupt the flow of these heats, don't they?
Now that they absolutely do, as it looks to be a 7-car field this time by. If there's a wreck early, it absolutely disrupts the flow in 2 ways. You of course see the early aggression that sends us into that yellow flag, and that gets drivers bunched up again. So the opportunity to become even more aggressive after the fact, well, it appears, and eventually the show goes on. As you can see, the inside line not going there, but we still have a pace lap or so to get everyone situated. And if these guys wreck early, well, it's going to become a 2-lap dash. That's how quick these pace laps are, and eventually it comes out of the checkered flag like it's nothing.
Yeah, and here this heat, we got Blair Bessett leading it, Brandon Mayer, Tyler Jordan, Juan Marshall, Tyler Connolly, Ethan Tyrrell, and also Trent Goodrow there in the 7th place position. Like you said, David, only 7 cars taking this final heat race of the night, and we'll see if this one stays clean and green, or if we're gonna get more yellow flags here on the racetrack, as pace car is gonna be coming down off of pit road right now, which means Barney the Flagman already has the green flag. And look at this, the 55 of Blair Bessett really gets an early jump on the rest of the field, and that means Tyler Jordan in the 2nd spot, Tyler Connolly moves up to 3rd, and Brandon Meyer in that transfer position.
And out in front, Blair Bassett is. So they're side by side for the lead here. And we're riding on board with Trent Goodrow there. And you can see he's about a second off of the race leader in that fourth position. Has that final transfer spot, but the 33 could be right behind him there as they come off the fourth corner. 3 laps in. Been a very quick run so far with no cautions. And it looks like the pace of play much different from the last 2 heats that we've seen. No caution. Everyone's single filed out as you see one go high. Now it looks to be a clean race to the stripe.
Now the 55 of Blair Bassett got a little bit high there in turns 3 and 4. Going to lose a little bit of track position, but gets back underneath on the racetrack. But no, gets a little bit of a door bump from Brandon Meyer back there. Now that's important. Now, oh my goodness, Ethan Tyrrell got into the back of Meyer. It's just like an accordion back there.
And everyone gets squished around, and it looks like one going to be the big loser, and that is the 61 of Meyer. Still Ethan Tyrrell right behind the 55 of Blair Bassett, your pole sitter, now falling back and might be in jeopardy of losing this spot and might have to be sent into the consolation. As it stands at 23, almost there on the back bumper. As we look up to the front of the field again, it looks like guys getting conjoined here, and it could be some very aggressive racing at the tail end for position and even for the victory.
Yeah, we got kind of 2 pairs of battles going on right now, but looking out the back of Blair Bassett at Ethan Tyrrell, this is the battle we want to watch because this is for that final transfer spot. And looks like Ethan just slid up the racetrack a little bit, which allows Blair to keep him at arm's length distance. And look at that, just like that, we only got 2 laps remaining, and I should say less than that, because our leader is already out of turn 4, taking that white flag.
And now it is time for the 55 to turn on the jets. If possible, your leader far out, that is Tyler Jordan. He's going to be able to take the stripe this time by Blair Bassett is around, and that's going to change everything. The 55 gets it situated, and now we have, it looks like Ethan Tyrrell in that 4th spot coming to the line, and this is not going to be without some controversy as the 55 goes around. We're going to have to take a quick look at that one as the race results going to be on your screen. And how about that to finish off our final heat? Tyler Jordan going to win it over Tyler Connolly by a second. Trent Goodrow going to be in that 3rd position. Ethan Tyrrell in 4th. Juan Marshall in 5th. Brandon Meyer in 6th. And Blair Bassett, the final driver on the running order.
Now, you mentioned controversy. I wonder how Race Control will handle that, because kind of how the approach they've been taking tonight is if you cause the wreck, you go to the end of the line. If you get caught up in the wreck, you're at no penalty. But that's the final transfer spot. We're going to have to see exactly what happens there. And while we've got this quick break, I want to mention our series partners one more time. GossCars.com, new and used car sales, as well as expert car maintenance and care using skilled technicians. Goss, Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, and Jeep there in south of Burlington, Vermont. Hard Brothers Racing, race car parts dealer in Colchester, Vermont. Race winning parts provider at the Thunder Road Speed Bowl. Also, MaconiSetupShop.com. Subscriptions are available over there if you're interested in upping your own game. Head on over to www.MaconiSetupShop.com, and also Maconi Competitive Zone if you're interested in having your own league race or even special event broadcasted here with the full commentary booth. Head on over to that same website, www.MaconiSetupShop.com. Click on that Maconi Entertainment tab and fill out the info, and Jeff will get back to you on how we can make it work and share all of your racing action with your family, friends, and fans out here on the screen. And gonna take a quick break as we got a little bit of a warm-up action going on right now, and be right back with the starting grid. Well, now that I've regathered myself from that little bit of a blunder there, we're going to bring you our starting grid for this main feature of a race, 125 laps. Joey Israelson going to be bringing you from the pole position. Vernon Woodard there in second place. Aaron Clemens third. Tyler Jordan fourth. Jason Ricker in the top 5. Robbie Douglas 6th. Reese Bogue 7th. Tyler Connolly, Casey Beatty, and Jeff Coate rounding out the top 10 there, David.
And then we're going to go on to 11th with Derek Luchaki. Trent Goodrow going to be in that 12th position. As we move on from there, it's going to be Kerry Krenner in 13th. PJ Evans is going to be in 14th. And Aaron Maynard in position number 15. Ethan Terrell in 16th. Justin Prescott in 17th. And Ty Delphia going to be in 18th position as we get to the remainder of this field.
There in 19th, we got Bert Duffy. Juan Marshall, 20th. Brian Rogers Jr., 21st. Zachary Audit there in 22nd. Norman Andrews, 23rd. And Brandon Meyer in 24th position. And it's going to be the 24 cars and we're really going to see out here. And this is a little itty-bitty racetrack to have so many cars on. We are going to see a lot of action, and it is going to get going pretty much right away out here. You see the weather on the screen, a nice cool night in North Carolina, 77-degree ambient air temperature, 79 degrees on the track, and that means the drivers won't have to be fighting those tires too much underneath them. And gonna have Barney the Flagman grabbing that green flag here. Means we're gonna be getting going here for this main feature of the iAmerican Tour here. Joey Israelson already on the loud pedal. We're racing here at Hickory Motor Speedway for 125 laps in the super late models.
And Israelson with a great jump there, and it looks like the remainder of the field are right behind him. Aaron Clemens on the inside line is Vernon Woodard going to be there on the outside and getting filed out. Not just yet, but it looks like the inside line is the place to be. Now the track conditions are pretty favorable to these cars. A lot of power, not too much downforce, but it is going to be a cooler night than if it were in the daytime. So these guys have the track in their favor, but it's all about racing these drivers, and still a very tricky track. Not a lot of width, not a lot of room, as we see double file very early into our main feature, side by side for second.
Well, double file for second place there, and that's allowing our leader to kind of scoot away, run away, but only on lap 4 and already running into the back of some of these slower cars that are in the tail end of the field, and that's something the drivers are going to have to battle all night long. And the 36 already making moves underneath, and now we've got some problems coming off of turn 2. We've got a car in the wall. I believe that's the number 9.
And that, it appears to be Jason Ricker, who lined up 5th in this race. And it looks like lining up at the back of the field after this one. Caution is out. The 9 machine goes all the way around and was backwards there on track for a moment, but it looks like everything has been sorted out. We'll take an instant replay, and you can see the 9 around. By that point, we're going to take it back a bit further. It just gets loose, and that's the trouble that this track brings, as each turn is different, and it looks like conditions taking a toll on the 9 driver or car. Something went wrong there, and this is the onboard from Derek Gluchowski as he gets involved as well. And that's going to send the 03 machine to the back of the field with some front end damage. Not a good start to some of these guys' races, but still a lot of time to recover if possible.
Yeah, plenty of time to recover, and looks like here in the feature, you know, we do have one fast repair available to him, but you don't want to use that up too early, do you? You kind of want to keep that in the bank just in case you need it later in the race. And so what I think that some of these guys will do is that if they have some caution, they might assess it during a green flag run. If it's too bad, then maybe come down and get it fixed, or have to use that fast repair if they need to. And looks like we're gonna get them lined back up here. And I tell you what, with how busy this racetrack is, 26 cars out there on the racetrack, and it only took a handful of laps to start running into the back of these lapped cars. David, do you think we're going to see cars fall out of this just based on attrition? Or do you think we're going to see this lap car, lead lap car battle all night?
Now, it's possible we see it in part all night, but I think the should I say, not necessarily severity, but the frequency of the battle, it will definitely get to be a lot less as the night goes on. Certainly it's going to be tough for some of these guys, as this is, for the most part, a one-groove circuit. So leaders will have to stick there and hope that the lap cars play nice, and if they don't, well, we might just see trouble. I do expect, though, that guys will begin to fall out, as it looks like at the moment 23 of the 26 on the circuit are currently on the lead lap, so guys might be falling off already. Some might have to take their fast repair, even though you absolutely want to hold on to it to the tail end and use it when it's most crucial. But right now, guys are getting bunched up. We are already double file, and the show will get back on the road, and it won't be long until we see lap cars once again in the eyes of the leaders.
Barney the flagman has that green flag, and Israelson waiting much longer this time, kind of goes in the middle of the restart zone, throwing a curveball to the rest of his competitors, and this time Clemens is able to hang tough on the outside lane, making life difficult down low for that 36 car. And this is the first time that we've really seen an outside lane kind of compete with that low groove.
And you are right about that. This 67 machine has been on a tear compared to everyone else there. He's going to go right up the track, lose a bit of time, but that just looked to be a minor mistake that could have been made on any groove. The 67 had it there, but it looks like Joey Israelson going to go way up there, as the 29 machine of Tyler Jordan now has that inside line. And as this group develops with very fast drivers on it now, it might be possible for guys to compete on that outside, even if the inside has been superior, because it's a lot less distance traveled. And with the banking being so minimal throughout the entire circuit, you need every advantage when it comes to distance and speed that you can possibly get. Now it is going to be Tyler Jordan leading. The leaders have not ran into the lap cars just yet, but it still seems like it will be only a matter of time, very quick lap times, and that means it will be very quick until the guys and gals at the back of the field on pace will start the show on frame once again.
Tyler Jordan still leading the way. Vernon Woodard there in the second place in the side-by-side battle. We're riding on board with Joey Israelson, who started out in the lead of this race, led a few laps, but once he got pushed up to this high groove, he's really kind of struggled and fallen back a few positions, and now you see he finds that spot down in that low lane, takes it once again, and I think that's where we're going to see most of these competitors really migrate to, is this low groove tonight. It seems to be the fast way around. However, if you can make things tough on the top side, and oh, we got a problem with our leader just like that. Tyler Jordan scoots out wide, and now we got contact. The 46 got into Tyler Jordan and sent him around.
And absolutely, Tyler Jordan going to go around there. The number 29 machine able to scoop it back up, and now going to be way in the back of the field from what was the front. The 29 goes down and around, so we'll get an instant replay from the lead, as you mentioned. Gets on the apron there just a bit, but that's not going to be the issue. Looks like stepping out of the groove and then trying to put the power back down. The 45 machine there as well, and that's where the incident finds itself, in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And right now, Tyler Jordan has a lot of ground to make up, and it's going to be a challenge to him because no caution is flown for that incident. I think the admin team is going to say that that was a single car incident with only one driver getting really messed up, as we're riding aboard with Casey Beatty currently in the second position.
Yeah, I misspoke there. I said the 46, but it was the 45 there that was into the door. But the racing goes on out there on the racetrack, and Vernon Woodard currently leads the way over Casey Beatty, PJ Evans, all there locked into this battle for really what is the lead, and riding on board with our leader, chasing down what is the 29 car now. 29 car is running up a little bit further in front of the lead group here earlier in the race, but it just goes to show you how quickly things can change when you're only doing 14-second laps here, David.
And you are right when it comes to fates twisting the number 29 machine back in front of the leaders, but in a different sense. Now in the jeopardy of going one lap down here, and that is something that, of course, any driver wants to avoid. You can see that while the 29 still has pace, it's going to be harder to hold on from here on out. Of course, these leaders might want to have their way with the dominant groove, and as it stands, it looks like the 29 will not give that away. The 73 machine, your current race leader, right behind him. But a lap car showing some pace like a leader, and that might lead to some frustration, even though so far I don't think that Tyler Jordan's done anything worthy of being moved out the way.
I tell you what, though, if Vernon Woodard doesn't get around some of these cars, Casey Beattie is right tucked up underneath that spoiler there. And now, in fact, Casey's going to look to the high side around turn number 4, try to carry that momentum, and not able to complete the pass right now, but just ever so slightly trying to make a little bit of ground. If you can't make it on the low side, try to search around the racetrack and open up a new door. But when you have lapped cars up there, it makes it ever more difficult. And if you leave the door open too long, that 33 of PJ Evans is right there. And now we see the 45 slide underneath Vernon Woodard for the lead. Still trying to deal with this lap car, the 29 in front of him battling to try to stay on the lead lap.
Now, this is what I mentioned about Tyler Jordan. He might just be the fastest lap car on the circuit, but still giving these leaders trouble. Casey Beattie able to go down the inside line, but it looks like the outside is the move, as now the 73 of Vernon Woodard goes to the outside of Tyler Jordan, and Jordan is now landlocked on that inside line. The only choice, go to the apron or keep driving, and he's a racer. He's just going to want to keep pushing, as he still has the pace to go side by side with your leader, as now another lap car going to join the fray here, and it's going to become even harder and more hectic for a leader, no matter if they're on the inside or outside, to keep the power down, as Vernon Woodard now starting to slowly but surely run away from Tyler Jordan and perhaps catch up to the 24 machine right in front. Almost clear that time through, but now it's going to become more and more of a challenge as more lap cars in varying amounts of pace show up in this lead battle.
Well, the 29 is showing why he should have started and should be racing at the front. You see how tough he's hanging. He's actually battling it back on the leader of Vernon Woodard here. Remember, that's the 29 Tyler Jordan. He started 4th place here in this main feature, but got caught up in some early stuff and finds himself way down in terms of track position, and fending off the inside of the racetrack is he's trying to keep that track position, as if there's a yellow falling, he wants to be that first car 1 lap down, just like right now. We've got a yellow flag on the racetrack. Looks like it might be Brandon Meyer in the number 61 that had some problems out there.
And that is not good. Brandon Meyer, you're saying he's involved in an incident. We will take a look, and if we're looking at him, there might just be some damage. We'll take it back, and you would see at the moment alone, the leader's not in a frame, but still might have gotten involved in something here. Looks like he's going to lose control and not able to overcorrect it, but still going to get involved with a few drivers and stay on the track and collect a few guys there. Might not be terminal for them, but absolutely something you want to avoid. And this is going to be the saving grace for Tyler Jordan. He will be that first driver to get back onto the lead lap, hanging tough with those leaders. It was worth it, and that's going to put him back with them on the lead lap, 42 laps in at 125.
Yeah, he should be able to get that, call it the lucky dog. I believe that they do enforce that here in this series, so should be getting that 29, getting that wave round back on the lead lap. And the other thing that this offers the opportunity to is that it's kind of like the mental reset out there, and there was a lot going on that race. And not only that, there was a lot going on for the lead, actually, and nice to have a little bit of a mental break, get the reset button, get the green flag back going, and kind of get going on the racetrack once again. And I'm actually not sure if the 29 is going to get his lap back. Looks like he's going to have to fall to the tail end of the field. Tough break for Tyler Jordan.
And that is unfortunate. That shows once again that the fate of any driver is determined by a matter of a few feet. If that happened, that caution happened a lap or two beforehand, I think the 29 machine would have been back up on that lead lap, back again, contending with the guys who have that pace, and he'd make quick work of some of them. But now look at that 29 machine going up high there, so not sure what's going on.
No, I see race control in the chat here finally gave the wave by to Tyler Jordan there. It was a late wave by. We're extending the caution by 1 lap here. Make sure Tyler can get around to the back end of the field. And I think that was the right call there. He was the first car that was 1 lap down. Typically what happens is a lucky dog rule, which means that car that's the first position 1 lap down will be able to get their lap back and get back racing again. It's kind of like getting thrown that life jacket out there as you're treading water, but it's going to be Vernon Woodard on the bottom lane in control of this restart. A very late jump all the way at the very end of the restart zone. He decides to go, and a little bit of a checkup there from the second row, but check this out. PJ Evans in the 33. Number 12 on the screen is taking a look down low for that second place position.
And PJ Evans with an awful lot of pace now, showing it as the drivers are now going to be single file for the top 3. Looks like it's going to be Beatty down in the inside line. The 45 machine does. We have a multi-car incident in the back of the field. One car is spinning in like a top as we still are on the green until now. We're going to check back there as that was a multi-car incident, about 5th position on, and we'll try to get a closer look.
Yeah, I saw Aaron Clemens spun around. This is just, this is tough. You know, I can't really fault one car here because there's about 4 cars that all try to go for this low lane at the same time, and there you see it. They just all kind of get stacked up. A little bit of net code here in the simulator world as well, and then unfortunately it happened at near the front of the field, which means not many places to go if you're in the back barreling in.
An absolutely misfortune taking its place in this event almost halfway through, and that's going to collect a few drivers, some worse than it does others, and that's going to re-rack them and restack them once again. It looks like the 20th place machinery is on pit road, and right now 20 drivers being scored, possibly in the lead lap. We can guarantee that's 19 now, as it looks like the 9 machine of Jason Ricker going to be there, 1 down, and it looks like that's just going to show you how tough it is to get that spot back on the lead lap after an incident. In situations like that where the front end can get buried in, that's engine damage, and it could be aerodynamic as well. If you lose the engine at a track like this, you either take the fast repair and hope for the best from here on out, or you repair it manually, and that could cost you perhaps even more time and position than if you took the fast repair to begin with. So deliberation on strategy, including damage repair, already here 51 laps in.
And I know that this crowd has a lot of real racers in it, and for those of you watching that are unfamiliar with the sim world, there's a thing called netcode here in iRacing, and it's all based off of the connection, the internet connection of the competitors, and sometimes it's a little bit iffy out there. You get close to a competitor and it actually says you hit them when you still left a few inches of space out there, and that happens on some of these wrecks, and unfortunately, it catches out some competitors, but that's why we've got awesome race control Brandon Davis looking out over the field today. And I do have to give a shout out to Brandon because he's actually doing a fantastic job tonight, being very much in control of the daycare center, letting everybody know what's going on, and even checking in on us here in the commentary booth, letting us know of all of the penalties. So thank you very much to Brandon Davis keeping us informed. But pace cars down on pit road. Vernon Woodard waits once again all the way to the end of the restart zone to get on the gas, and this time PJ Evans is on the outside trying to make it difficult, and already yellow flag on the racetrack. Looks like a few cars turned around in turn 1.
And it looks like the 29 machine and Tyler Jordan involved in that one, so it could be some aggression trying to get through the field as we take our Maconi Entertainment instant replay. Tyler Jordan right there in frame as the drivers get going for this restart. The 29 there on the inside line, and it might just start ahead of him. And you could see they go into that first turn, and yes, it does, and it's just going to become a parking lot almost there as drivers get stuck in the infield wall. The 18 goes down around, and that's where the incident began as they come across the stripe, and it looks like that is some perhaps contact. That angle not giving us the best look. You can see multiple drivers going down and around and getting involved as a result.
I catch a few angles of this replay here, and you see how quickly things can happen. The 46 there just gets into the 18, and when you got all of the cars lined up on the restart, there really is nowhere to go. It's just like driving along, merging onto the freeway, and then everybody just stops in front of you, and it can be really tough to avoid. And while we're under a little bit of a break here, I want to mention all of our partners, because without any of this, none of it would be possible here at the 2023 iAmericanCanadianTour. And that includes GossCars.com, new and used car sales, as well as expert car maintenance and care using skilled technicians. Goss, Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, and Jeep. Pard Brothers Racing, a race-winning parts provider at the Thunder Road Speed Bowl there in Colchester, Vermont. Maconi Setupshop.com. If you're interested in upping your game, head on over to www.MaconiSetupShop.com. They have subscriptions available there to help drop your lap time. And also Maconi Competizone. If you're interested in hosting your own league, your own special event, or even a race here on the iRacing service, head on over to that same website, www.MaconiSetupShop.com. Click on that Maconi Entertainment tab, fill out the info, and Jeff will get back to you on how to make your dreams a reality here and share all of the racing action with your family, friends, and fans for you all to watch. And just like that, pace car is already off. Vernon Woodard, once again, another really late restart, and PJ Evans says, you know what, the heck with this, I'm going to get going. He takes the lead from the outside on a superb jump, and we might go 3 wide in a 3. They think better of it, but it's the 45, Casey Beatty, leading the way down low.
And PJ Evans, the king of capitalization on restarts, now out in front by about a half second. The caution flies once again, and we see a few drivers stuck there on the front stretch. One going to be parking it in the victory square right beside the start-finish line. That is the number 24. So we take a quick look back, and that's going to be multiple cars down and around as the 03 gets caught up, and then the 24 spins in. So it looks like going down the inside line, 2 drivers going for the same real estate, and then they tag eventually twice.
Yeah, 24 gets into the 03, and you know, I learned this very early on, David, is the racing gods are always looking down at you, and you hit them once, okay, it's rubbing, then you hit them twice and you spin them, and then it was a little bit like the tail came back around and bit the 24, like the racing god came down there and smushed him a little bit and says, hey, let's get this cleaned up a little bit. But thankfully, the Lord has giveth a yellow flag, so doesn't lose a lap out there, still keeps the track position, just kind of got to get the reset going.
And a mental reset, you might say, as well as perhaps a physical on the car. And the fast repair might be avoided for now. It didn't seem like all too much damage, but you have to resituate your mindset going into a race in its second half, as we now have 62 laps remaining. And if you can't do that, you're going to end up failing. But I do believe that these guys, they're real-life competitors. They know how to get it done after misfortune finds itself in their path. And certainly, you'll be able to execute after this, as the caution now has about 2 laps remaining. One driver going to go up high and perhaps get a lap or a few spots back, as the iRacing official pace car leads the field, as PJ Evans is going to be right behind it.
Yeah, PJ Evans is going to be in control of this next restart, and I'm actually happy you brought up the lap count, because we are officially past halfway here of this 125 lap feature. So, does the mindset change at all? I don't think so. I think it's been aggression all night. It's been a few short sprints. Make sure you got the track position. You keep the track position out there, and don't get banged up in the process. Now, this is the first time that PJ Evans has been in control of the restart. Vernon Woodard lines up alongside in the 73. Does PJ go early? Does he go late? Looks like he goes all the way at the end of the restart zone. Pretty even acceleration out of both lanes up front, and PJ Evans still holding that low groove, seems to inch away. And does he clear Vernon off of 4? No, it's still side by side.
And now PJ Evans looks to have the edge, almost clear there, but it still is going to be a side-by-side battle for the lead until the backstretch, as it is going to be Woodard holding on strong. Vernon Woodard now going to be side by side for second there as they come across the stripe, and a sea of cars chasing your leader. And PJ Evans, he didn't go with a rocket launch like the last two that we have seen, but it's just enough to fend off the field and get himself back in front. Sometimes it's about the long run instead of the short, as drivers are situating themselves for perhaps yet another longer run. A caution has not come out since our restart, and it looks like these guys might be good to go for something more. Vernon Woodard now going to be put into that third position as the 36 of Joey Israelson. Your Polson are now going to go side by side with the 73. They keep it nice and straight, but almost some contact as the 73 trying to find himself on that inside line as the outside swallows him up, and Jeff Coe now has the 73's rear bumper right in front of him.
Well, and you mentioned the 51 back there. He's actually taking a look, doesn't quite get the nose down to the inside of Vernon Woodard, but you see what happens when you get stuck on the top side of the racetrack and all these cars are lined up down low. It gets really tough to get back into that low groove if you get shoved up out of the racing line. And Vernon Woodard only lost 3 positions, but that's a significant amount of track position when you were up there leading this race.
And that is certainly not what you want to have. If you're a leader, you want to stay a leader, and falling back, well, it just won't be in your favor in multiple ways. You really want to turn up the aggression, but sometimes controlling yourself and waiting for it is the way to go, as PJ Evans now has some pressure to hold on to that race lead, is diving into the inside of the turn once again here at Hickory. Everyone goes, and now they're separated by a 10.5. The gap slowly but surely is shrinking, but still the leader as these guys, these top two, pulling away from Joey Israelson and the remainder of the field, and they might have something that these guys don't, and that is truly a long run car. These super late models usually get stacked up with one another, and we usually might see some more short runs if it weren't for the great competition, the great drivers we have here. And now one going to be backwards on the racing circuit, and that brings us to the yellow that I mentioned we didn't have, and we'll check back as it looks like the 24 involved once again.
As Kerry Krenner turned around there in turn 2, and oof, spins it right around in front of the 29. Kind of an unfortunate deal for the 29 if they picked up any incident there, but here we get a clip of the accident. Looks like the 24 was already having a few issues, was trying to get it gathered up and then get it punted again from a car coming on the racing line. You see they're just loose into turn 1. Tank slaps it up the racetrack, and I believe that was the 79 of Juan Marshall, the unlucky one, with a car in his windshield.
And certainly unlucky for Juan there. The 24 had all that front end damage sustained and accumulated from wrecks beforehand, and it comes back to bite multiple drivers. It's just harder to hold on to a car when it has accumulated damage, and when these tires get a bit older, the fuel runs a bit lighter, and the driver might not be as happy, might be a bit more frustrated. It just becomes a bit more of a challenge than if they were to have a clean car. And of course, Tyler Jordan getting involved later on, and it just hasn't been the night he's wanted. The 29 machine, a lot of pace, a lot of promise, but getting involved in another incident that's certainly not one he wants to be a part of.
No, but we mentioned that this is a new series, David, here on Maconi Entertainment, the iAmericanCanadian Tour, and really excited to have this 5-race series being broadcast here. Tonight we're here at Hickory Motor Speedway, and we mentioned it at the beginning of the show. Drivers are going to be competing for $400 total in prize pool. That means first place in the championship takes home $250, second $100, and third $50. And you see the schedule on the screen. From here we go to New Hampshire. After that, Stafford, then Thompson Motor Speedway, and end it off at Oxford Plains. All some of the best short tracks here on iRacing. It's going to be great racing throughout this season, and most importantly, it is getting going tonight. We're getting to see the regular players and who's going to get that lead in the championship after claiming the checkered flag here tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway. But the 33, PJ Evans, on the loud pedal, getting this restart going. Israelson lined up alongside Jeff Coe, already taking advantage of that low groove down low. exiting turn number 2, taking it away, coming out of turn 4 now, already up into the second place position. But more importantly, looks like Israelson is going to get down to that low groove.
And it's going to be a big challenge there for Israelson as he has to wiggle it back up high, gets it a bit squirrely, and he had that spot on the inside for just a moment, but it looks like it did not turn out in his favor. He'll be there side by side, keeping it honest with the 44 machine of Prescott. And while they're running up front right now, they're letting those top two once again get away. Jeff Cope, PJ Evans on a roll as Aaron Plemons right now in 7th, battling on the inside line. And it looks like the outside there going to take the advantage and get in front, as it's still a hard-fought battle for every spot in that top 5. Now it's going to be Israelson up on the high side. He's still got the 44 working him over, and Israelson going to have to fall back maybe 2 spots, definitely 1, as the caution comes out, and it saves him from losing more.
This is Vernon Woodard. This is Vernon Woodard playing turtle out there in turn 1. We're going to catch the replay of exactly what happens to this 73 here. Remember, this was one of our cars that was up there leading the race, really in control, setting the pace here at Hickory Motor Speedway. And oh no, just looks like he wasn't clear up top. Thought he was clear, and the 45 was there, turns him into the outside wall.
And Vernon Woodard, everything that could go wrong in that situation did. Thought he had that room, and then got sent into the tire barrier, got sent back onto the track, and went up and over it, and he doesn't even get to land with the wheels on the pavement. That is going to be detrimental to his race, and that could be it for his winning chances, if not the chance of him getting back on the track. A shame for a driver with a lot of promise as this race got going, was up there in the battle for the lead, and now going to have to settle for a spot outside the top 15, if not the top 20, in a situation of a slight miscalculation.
Yeah, and it can happen to anybody out there, especially with short track racing. You see the margins, they're so slim, and just thought he was clear and he wasn't clear. And thank the stars this is the virtual world, because that impact was right on the roof going into that turn 1 impact zone. And for all of you real racers out there, you know how scary an impact is when it hits on that roof. And thankfully, we just have a reset button here in the iRacing world, and Vernon Woodard gets that virtual tow truck out there, get him up off of the racetrack, get him down on a pit road, and hopefully he hasn't used his fast repair yet. He does have to take the time penalty, of course, of getting the car to pit road, but hopefully should be getting going back out on the racetrack.
And that we hope to see. Woodard still has a great car under him if he has that fast repair. Of course, qualified second, was up there in the battle for the lead, but it looks like he will be battling there no more, as it is PJ Evans and Jeff Cote who have taken this race by storm with 33 laps to go. That might not sound like a lot, and the reason is it's not. A very short circuit, and we have gotten down to the final quarter of this event. The iRacing official pace car going to be on its way. Green flag back out, and PJ Evans going to be side by side for a moment, trying to pull away immediately, and that's what he does. The number 12 on your screen takes the lead once more.
Oh, the 00's turned around. That's Tyler Connolly. There is just a little bit of contact coming out of turn number 2. Not exactly sure who started this, but things were all stacked up out of turn 2, and I think the 00 just drifted up the racetrack a little bit and then ended up catching into some other cars, and you see multiple cars involved here.
And that's not what you want to see, especially since this incident is very close to the front of the pack. Riding aboard there, Casey Beattie able to get away in that 11, but multiple drivers going from the bottom of the circuit up to the top and hitting a few things along the way. That's going to be not some crucial damage, but certainly going to be damage nonetheless, and that could take some drivers out of position. They certainly want to keep themselves in. And now some guys fall in the back of the pack as you see one driver with some front end damage going to the top of the circuit, trying to get a lap back here to keep themselves in contention.
And you mentioned it was just 33 laps, and now we're 29 laps to go. Slowly but surely, the count is coming down. Started with 125 bottles of beer on the wall, and now only 29 left. And trust me, when you drink that much, the frustration levels can rise when you got cars stuck in front of you. And I think that's what we're going to see. But David, ring my memory a little bit. We saw 10-lap heats, right?
That we did.
Okay, so 10-lap heats. We're looking at basically a couple of heats to end out this race here by the time we get going. I'm going to guess probably about 26 laps to go here, and that means not a whole lot of time out on the racetrack. And I know we can't play favorites here. We have to stay unbiased, but if you had to pull out that magic 8-ball, the crystal ball, who is going to be your favorite to steal away the checkered flag tonight?
Now, we've seen some great runs from the guys up front already, but I feel like the driver who started it in the front of the field, your pole sitter, Joey Israelson, still has a good shot. He's there on the outside line, hanging tough. If something goes awry for the guys up front, he could just be able to take it home. But of course, a lot of great drivers here. Anyone is in the cards as the pace car dives in once again.
And PJ Evans, a little bit of a better launch here on this restart, is able to clear Jeff Coate, our second place runner, by the time he gets into turn 1, and that leans on turn 3 here as Justin Prescott tries to sneak the nose inside, but really our front 4 runners have all found the low groove.
And now everyone in that top 5. Oh, we got one going around. That's going to be the 4 of Bogue, and it looks like falling way back. Cautions out. 25 remaining. And multiple drivers involved in that one. The 4 able to run away from that, but I saw the 4, that bright green, was the first driver involved, and that is indeed the case. Spins it around, gets collected. A few drivers do. The 12 with the mellow yellow paint scheme there as well. And you can see, just gets spun. 2 drivers trying to fight one in front. And it involves a few others in some chaos that ensues thereafter.
Yeah, you see both those cars that were side by side behind the 4 end up getting into them. And here you see Vernon Woodard, who was just on his roof, thankfully got tipped right side up and avoids a wreck. Trying to get a few laps back out there is that number 73. And I love to see that, is that it's so easy to hit the reset button. You're on your roof. There's only a handful of laps left here in a virtual event. Just call it a night. But no, Vernon Woodard is out there trying to gather up some points and still do this thing out here for the fans watching. And let me tell you, Vernon, I've seen these restarts and the fans, they got the cameras out. David, have you been noticing those flashes going off by the fans? They are loving the action tonight.
Every time we pass by the front straightaway, it seems like the crowd of 10,000 strong is on their feet. And of course, they love it. And we hope that our viewers on Maconi Entertainment love it as well. But a great show so far. And these guys still have to seal the deal, whether you're up front in the middle of the pack or you're someone like Vernon Woodard, just trying to collect the laps and perhaps get back into winning contention. It's still possible. Anything could happen here. And it is enough time to see some chaos. And we had 10 lap heats, as you mentioned beforehand. But we saw cautions in those as well, so it could be enough time for some chaos to put itself in the favor of drivers in the back of the field.
Now, you picked Israelson here on the last restart. I'm actually going to make the easy choice here. I'm going to go with the 33 of PJ Evans, who's going to be the leader of this restart. Now, I know it says the number 12 on the screen, but 33 on timing and scoring, and started all the way back there in the 13th place position, moved up 11 spots tonight, so he's definitely got something to prove to the rest of these racers out there, and he's got familiar company out there, as it looks like Jeff Coate also up 9 positions, but PJ Evans not with a great restart this time. The 51 is able to hang tough going down into turn 1, loses about half a car length coming off of turn 2, but it's still the 33 down low in control, but here comes Jeff battling it back on the top.
And now it looks like Jeff Coate has a load of momentum on the outside line. PJ Evans might just be seeing those tires begin to fry. It is possible these guys have been staying out, and now riding aboard with Justin Prescott in that third position. It looks like Coat going to try to go down the inside. Doesn't happen that time through. And now the top three are all in the cards to make it happen as Israelson falls to 7th position, and the outside line filing driver Jeff Coat able to make his way in, and the top 5 pulling a gap now with 16 remaining, and the backstretch going to be a single file showdown. Evans out in front here, and looks like it might be a little bit of a crunkle there on the front end of the 51, and PJ Evans still has a spot clean car.
Yeah, PJ Evans kind of running away with it right now, and by running away with it, I mean about a half a car length over the 51, but look at that. Jeff Coat actually just makes a mistake, slips up there in turn 1, gives up a little bit of track position, and that allows the 44 of Justin Prescott to sneak underneath. And I've been watching the 44 because he has put his car down under the yellow line on the apron sometimes to try to steal away this lower groove from his competitors, and he's done a great job because he started way back there 16th, up 14 spots, and looks like a big slide back there for Aaron Clemens.
And Clemens going to go down and around, have a vicious connection with some drivers in 10th and 15th. They're on back to 67 of Aaron Clemens gets involved with 12 laps remaining, and that's going to be crucial to any winning chances. The 67 there, and he has Casey Beattie right behind him going in to what looks to be 3 and 4 there. The 67 still in front of the 45, and then tries to cut down in, and that looked to be perhaps contact, perhaps net code, and the 67 takes a hit from drivers on the way back.
Yeah, it very well could be net code. You're going to see Beattie here try to get to the inside. Not sure if there is contact or if it's that net code that we're talking about. I think this second impact was definitely net code as the cars came around. And like I was mentioning earlier, here in the sim, we still have to deal with all the connections, the internet connections between each competitor out there. And sometimes they don't line up perfectly out there. And here in the sim world, some impacts happen when there's still a few inches to spare out there, but something that everybody has to deal with. And something I'm noticing, David, we're under 10 laps to go, which means we might see a green-white checkered here tonight, depending on when this restart happens and if they play nice.
And if they play nice, a big question. We saw 10-lap heats, and sometimes they played nice, sometimes they didn't. So it's all up to the drivers up front. And again, a much bigger field than our 8-car heats. We still have what appears to be maybe 18, 19 cars on the circuit and about 17 on the lead lap. So a lot of drivers, and of course with the rightful belief, they still have a shot at victory, and we'll see how liberally they use that terminology of a chance at victory. They might just play a bit rougher than what we'd see at the start of this event. And who knows, as the pace car leads them down, and this time by, I believe we do go 1 to green, so it could be a 6-lap dash. And it also could be a caution that leads to the green-white checkered immediately thereafter.
I want to keep everybody updated. The 29, Tyler Jordan, is back on the lead lap after having quite a day. Remember, he started all the way up in the 4th place position and now back down there. But PJ Evans on the loud pedal accelerating gets a great jump here for this. Could be final restart. Already clear of the rest of the field as Justin Prescott tries to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, squeeze the 51 of Coat, and there's contact and he's around.
And that is aggression in a textbook example. The 44 goes for a move there. Prescott not able to make it happen and goes down and around. As a result, 5 laps remaining. This could be what sends us in to overtime in our one and only green-white checker. Jeff Coat could be right there with Justin Prescott. The 44 on that back straightaway trying to clear himself into line, and they make a bit of a touch there, and the 36 of Israelson makes it around. And there you have it. The 44 goes down and in. Doesn't collect many people on the way down, so that's great to see. But still a heartbreak there, as Prescott does not want to see any of this, especially so late. Jason Rickard gets into the inside wall, almost collects a 44 there, but keeps it moving.
I think Jason Ricker got some help from behind. I wasn't sure who that was, but you're right, kept it pointed the right way around there. And I tell you what, the 44 was squeezing the 51 down on the bottom of the racetrack down there, and he knew that if he wanted a shot at the win, he needed the low line of the racetrack, and he took that opportunity, but unfortunately was not clear. And 51 was definitely there, and 44 took the bad end of that spin. And here we're seeing a couple more of them get waved around to get back on the lead lap, and we are going to get this green-white checkered attempt. Now, for all of you unfamiliar with the green-white checkered attempt, is we'll get them re-racked and restacked 2 by 2 like a standard restart. However, we're essentially going to go 1 green flag lap, 1 white flag lap, and then the checkered flag is going to come out and settle the race. If a yellow comes out, we only have this 1 attempt, so that will dictate the end of this race, and hopefully we get to see them all cross the start-finish line here, but it's going to be the 51 and the 33 lining up alongside of each other. PJ Evans on the low lane, and he's already on the gas. Great restart from PJ Evans. He takes away that top spot. Jeff Coate actually has a gift to him. The 03 gets crossed up, but still hangs down on the low groove. It is PJ Evans taking the white flag from Barney the Flagman. All he's got to do is keep it clean. The race is on for second place. Can Jeff Coate hang on the top side, or is it going to be the 03 of Derek Lachowski gonna hang it tough? And PJ Evans takes the win here. Derek Lachowski coming home in third, and wow, what a finish. PJ Evans dictated the restart, took control of the field, and said, this race is mine.
PJ Evans, a man on a mission tonight, comes home the first winner of the season here at Hickory and burning it down. A rightful celebration as cars fly by him. Evans had it in control, and when he got up to the lead, it looked like nobody could take him out. For Evans Carpentry, PJ Evans, the 12 out in front of this field, and he just took it from the moment he got up there, starting deeper into the field compared to some of our contenders, such as the 36, our pole sitter, Enjoy Israel Sin, someone like Vernon Woodard, who caught up himself in incidents early on, and he just came out in front. You can see Jeff Coate there in the battle with Israel Sin for that second spot, and they go down the inside line. Let's take a look at that battle for second. Jeff Coate there. This is going to be the 1 lap to go replay, and side by side for second, and this is when aggression hits its limit. You go for broke or you go for nothing, and side by side at the line, it looks like Coate's going to wall ride it there, and the 03 gets it done in the second position. Coate's going to finish in third.
That's going to do it here for the results, and you see PJ Evans taking home the win. Derek Lachowski there, second place. Jeff Coate third. Joey Israelson, what a day for him, coming home in fourth. Tyler Connolly fifth. Reese Bogue sixth. Ty Delphia seventh. Caden Fisher in the 8th spot. Jason Rickard 9th, and Brian Rogers Jr. rounding out the top 10. David.
And from there on out, Aaron Plemons finishes in 11th. Tyler Jordan gets back up to 12th as Casey Beatty finishes in 13th. Bert Duffy, position number 14. Brandon Meyer in 15th, and Ethan Terrell in 16th, with Justin Prescott, the first driver, 1 lap down in 17th. Zachary Audit is going to finish down in 18th, and 19th is Juan Marshall as Kerry Krenner finishes in position number 20. And let's round out the grid.
Yeah, and all of these cars further down, Vernon Woodard, who was way up there early on in the race, a bit of an unfortunate end, and then Aaron Maynard, 67 laps down. Everybody else just had quite a problem early on in the race and didn't get back out onto the racetrack. And actually looks like we're going to have some post-race interviews, and we're going to bring in our race winner, PJ Evans. Congratulations on taking home the first win here on this iAmericanCanadian Tour.
Thanks. It was a tough one. I mean, started in 14th, just made our way through the field, avoided all the craziness. I mean, I didn't have any practice. I didn't expect to be up front with no practice, but I'll take it. It was a good win.
Yeah, definitely a good win. And you mentioned it did not start up front, had to battle your way all the way up there. Now, I noticed once you got up front, you kind of took a stranglehold of this race and said, hey, you know what? This is mine. But was there any point here tonight that you were a little worried that you were going to lose the front spots?
Um, I was a little worried on the restarts if I was gonna get sent or something, but I held my ground on the bottom and just drove off and just kept my position and just run my line and not overdrive it.
Well, and the super late models and Hickory Motor Speedway, what did you think about this car and track combo?
I like it. I mean, it's a little like the bumps like can upset the car a little bit, but luckily I didn't get in those bumps as bad. So I was able to keep it I was able to keep the car stable and not ruin it for myself and ruin the whole race for me.
Now, PJ, I know a lot of you competitors out here on the racetrack are real world racers as well. Is that such the case with you, and what do you race?
I raced the legend cars last season in the 12. I ran at Seekonk, Waterford, all over the place up north. But this year I'm going to be running the Act Tour in the 12. So hope you guys see me out there at New Hampshire for the first one.
Well, that is awesome. We'll have to keep an eye out for you. And last thing before I let you go, is there anybody that you want to say hi to or thank?
I want to thank my dad, my mom. I don't have any sponsors yet, so if anyone wants to hop on board this year, feel free to call my dad or give him a message on Facebook. Um, and hopefully we see you in 2023 on the car.
Well, that was PJ Evans taking home the win here at Hickory Motor Speedway. And always a big shout out to mom and dad if they're watching. And looks like we have Jeff Coate next here in the 51 car, coming home in the third place position with David.
And absolutely a great run for you, Jeff Coate, and it was an exciting battle for that final spot on the podium. So what was the key to your success here tonight? Is the battle up front was intense and rigorous. What kept you up there?
The main thing was to stay away from carnage, that's for sure. But the setup was pretty good. It has some. It wasn't tight, that's for sure. But the drive off was another thing. But we've been all running the same. So the key thing was to turn the middle and get the most drive off we can. It was a hard thing coming through the pack, but we made it.
And certainly driving your way up front on the mission here tonight. And eventually you found yourself up front for that final overtime attempt, the green-white checkered finish. So what's the game plan in a car and track combination such as the super lates at Hickory? What's the mindset going into that green-white checkered? Is it going for broke or being a little more calculated than that, trying to get some good points?
I wanted to finish a race, that's for sure, but it was tough to hang on the outside. That thing was too tight on the outside, and PJ was so strong. So the main thing was to finish second, and eventually Derek got it. But a third place after all we've been through, we'll take it.
Certainly a great result nonetheless. Now, Jeff Combs, a resident of Canada, we see it on your driver information. What's your origin in real-life racing that led you to entering this series?
We run ACT stuff up here in Quebec with the Quebec series, with the Quebec ACT series, which will be born this year. So we've been running ACT stuff at local tracks, Autodrome Chaudière and Autodrome Montmagny. But this year it will be those tracks will combine and they will form the ACT Quebec series. So we'll be there for the 10 or 12 race, 10 or 12 race. That's for sure.
And a competitive run for the land up north. Jeff Coate, anyone you'd like to thank after tonight's run, a podium here at Hickory?
Yeah, I just want to thank all my sponsors, Garage Mini Mécanique, KF Comptabilité, Clément Poulin Pièces d'Auto, and Les Constructions Iota. And all of you guys, a big thumbs up for the broadcast, and we'll see you next week.
And great to see driver the number 51 machine rounding out your podium here tonight. Jeff Coate in the 51, and a great interview from him as we pull in Joey Israelson, pole sitter on the night. I'm going to pass it back to, well, the other, of course, broadcaster in the scene, and it's going to be Joey. Taking it on Joey.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, congratulations on having the most awesome name ever, Joey, because I'm a Joey as well, and hopefully we get to see you stand on top. But tonight, it's a fourth place finish here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Congrats.
Hey man, thanks. That was a blast. It was a little rough out there, but it was fun for the first one.
Yeah, definitely fun for the first one. You mentioned it, the first one. This is the first race of the iACT Tour here. And how did you like it? How did you like the super late models on this racetrack?
Man, it was loose at the beginning. Once the tires started wearing in, she started coming to me a little bit. It was fun. There was a lot of fast cars out there tonight. Yeah, I was just hanging on there for the end. Kept on getting restarts on the outside. That hurt a little bit, but we made it work. Got a P4.
Well, and then I noticed that you were always battling up front throughout the entire night, but you kind of got the short sticks there on some of the restarts at the late end. And how tough is it to get the drive on that restart on that top lane and just try to find your way back down to that low groove?
Man, on those restarts, it's hard not to spin your tires going through the gears. And you got the guy right in front of you, so you're trying not to run over him. Got the people battling and banging below you, so you're just really just holding on, trying to keep it as close to the wall on the stretches as you can, and giving it all you got.
Well, and I know that we've been asking some of these drivers as they come in, some of their real world experience. Educate us on some of your experience. Are you a real world racer out there?
Yeah, I raced at Beach Ridge and the Mad Bombers for 3 years, and I got Rookie of the Year and championship. And then last year I moved up to Street Stocks at Oxford. Got P5 overall, like 3 wins. One on Saturday of the 250. Second in the Triple Crown. So hopefully I get another good year there. I'm looking to do a little bit more traveling.
Well, I know how that goes and starting the racing career. Sounds like you doing a fantastic job on the track, Joey. And before I let you go, is there anybody that you want to say hi to or thank?
Yeah, I got to thank my girlfriend for just letting me do this all the time. Takes up a lot of family time. I got to thank my dad, my brother, my teammate Tyler Jordan, just everybody who helps me get to the track in real life. They support it, so I try to show out for them.
Well, that was Joey Israelson coming home in the 4th place position today. The first round of the iAmericanCanadianTour here on Maconi Entertainment. And tonight we want to thank tonight's race sponsors, GossCars.com and also Pard Brothers Racing, as well as our broadcast partners, Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Competizone. Calling the action tonight was myself, Joey Atterbury, alongside David Kreutz in the booth with Ryan Bauer producing. Don't forget, round 2 of this iACT Tour is 1 week from today. That's March 5th. Once again, the super late models, but this time at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. As always, we would like to thank our viewers for tuning into tonight's racing action, and a special shout out, of course, goes to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing action to you. Stay tuned to all of our social media pages, and we hope to see you at our next event. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we wish you all a good night.